Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We just got back up here to the boat garage from the first Bassmaster Southern Open down in the Kissimmee Chain. Tournament didn't go as planned, but that's part of fishing. I had a pretty good practice towards the end of practice. Found some bites, the fish moved, and I just couldn't relocate them. I kind of want to go over, we've had in the past couple of years after our videos, we've had some comments and some people, requesting that we kind of show what we're using, what we're doing to catch our fish down on these lakes. So I wanted to kind of recap that, and I'm just going to kind of wing it. This is going to be kind of just a raw video. Honestly, haven't even touched any of my stuff since we've been back here. So I'm just going to literally open the rod locker here, pull out a few rods, show you guys what worked for me, what I always have tied on in Florida. By no means am I a Florida hammer. I've fished a handful of national tournaments down there. Fished 3 tournaments down on the Harris Chain last year. Got a check in all of them. So I know my way around, catching some bass in Florida, but there's, I got a lot of work to do. But just wanted to kind of show you guys what I used, what I always have tied on when I go down to Florida, and hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two. All right, first rod and reel I grabbed here was just the one on top. A bait that I threw a lot, and a bait that plays in Florida a lot. I didn't have much success on it. I tried to get the grass thing going offshore and just never did get a chance to run into any fish. Caught a few in practice on a few small ones, but this is just lipless crankbait. I believe this one's a Yozuri. It's a 5/8 ounce. I am throwing this on a Zodius rod, a Shimano Zodius. It's a 7.2 medium heavy glass rod. It's 50% glass and loads up real well. These treble hooks here, if you get a fish hooked, you want the rod to do a lot of the playing of the fish. You don't want to rip those hooks out of their mouth. Throwing it on this is actually an older Shimano Metanium. This is a 7-gear ratio, the HG. I'm using the reel to move the bait. So I'm using a 7-to-1 where, if I need to get that fish in the boat or reel real quick, I can, or I can also slow it down to get it down into that grass or take the top of that grass. The next one we're going to pull out here, this is definitely a staple in Florida, but of course a staple all over the country. Just catches bass, catches big bass, and that is the Chatterbait. It's a 1/2 ounce Z-Man jackhammer Chatterbait. I believe that's the golden shiner color. I don't really know the exact colors, but it's got a gold blade on it. This just catches bass everywhere you go in the country, especially springtime of year, but Florida especially. Winding it around the grass. I got it on a Shimano X-Bride. Man, this is one of my favorite rods in the X-Bride series, and definitely a rod that it's a must-have rod. It's a glass composite rod. It's a 7.2 medium heavy glass rod, which is a 60% 40% glass composite rod. And man, this thing is it's such a perfect rod for this chatterbait. It's good for lipless crankbaits. It's good for smaller crankbaits. It's good for a lot of different stuff. I'm throwing this on a Shimano Curado K on a 6.2-to-1. Where I was fishing this, a lot of times I'll put it on a 7-gear ratio reel, but where I was fishing this, I was actually fishing some deeper hydrilla with this bait. Out in the 7-8 foot range, so I could just really creep it along. And I always tend, if I'm trying to get a chatterbait or a moving bait down, I always tend to go to a lower gear ratio. So throwing it on 20-pound fluorocarbon line. Again, I didn't utilize this in the tournament a whole lot. I did throw it here and there, but it just didn't play for me. And of course the tournament was actually won on a chatterbait, but just in a different area than I was. This is the one that I had in my hand most of the tournament. But I really thought I was going to catch them on good. This is just there's still some Florida grass on there. This is just a punch rig. This is an 1.5 ounce Swagger tungsten sinker here, and got it on a 3/0 flipping hook, 65-pound Power Pro SSV2 braid. Shimano Curado K, it's the 8.5-to-1, and I got it on a G Loomis. This is the 895 FPR, which is a flipping and punching rod. It's an extra heavy, fast action rod. And I got in the tournament, I got on a really good punching bite late in the day on Tuesday, and there was a cold front that came through with a warming trend, and I had a weird feeling that punching those mats, those fish are trying to get out of those mats or trying to get up and spawn. And I just had I had like 20 bites on the afternoon, late afternoon on Tuesday before the tournament. Wednesday I went out, found some more mats, and had like 10 or 15 bites in an hour. So I was excited to get out there, But I also knew in the back of my head that those fish could be moving. And of course, I got a few bites in the mats, lost a couple big ones, of course, which is going to happen when you're trying to pull these big fish out of the heavy vegetation. But this is really what I kept in my hand majority of the time. This one here is just the good old Stickbait. I got this on a 7.5 fast. It's the 894C JWR. It's a jig worm rod. It's a G Lumens NRX. This is just a 6-inch Stickbait. I forget who actually makes it. I think it's Gambler makes that Stickbait. Just it's one of those that it's just got a lot of confidence in Florida. Of course, the Cinco works. Bitters makes a good one, but this is kind of the one that I just kind of my go-to. I've caught some big fish on it in Florida, and it's just something that I have confidence in, which is why I throw this. And this actually played a lot in the tournament for me. I had a bunch of bites. If you guys watched the video. Lost a bunch of fish on it, and I don't really know why. I don't feel like I was doing anything wrong. Throwing this one here on a Curado 70 XG. Super impressed by this reel. It's a smaller profile reel. Throwing it on a 3/16 or a 1/4 ounce Swagger tungsten weight here with a 5/0 hook and 20-pound fluorocarbon. I switched out between fluorocarbon and braid. I actually threw braid, 40-pound Power Pro SS V2 for most of the tournament. Next one up is of course, is a staple anywhere in the country. It's just a 5-inch wacky rig. This is a Yamamoto Cinco. Got that on a this is a Vanford, Shimano Vanford 3000 reel, and this is actually a I like to throw the NRXs a lot, spinning rods, but this is actually a Shimano Zodius. It's a 7.3 medium heavy. I wanted a little bit extra power just in case those fish grabbed it, or if a big one grabbed it and tried to get around the vegetation. I could have a little bit more leverage to get them out. But with how shallow the water was there, I like to put that little nail weight in the dead center there. This one here, I actually try to get this to work a lot, and it's really what I like to throw on shell beds down in Florida. With that cold front, those shell beds hold heat. Those fish, those bigger fish like to hang out on those shell beds. Not only for the heat, but they attract bait fish, and with the bait fish there, obviously the bass are going to be there. So this one here is just it's a Carolina rig, pretty simple Carolina rig set up here. I'm actually throwing just a 1/2 ounce Swagger tungsten Carolina barrel weight. Just this is a Magnum trick worm, June bug Magnum trick worm. Just one of my confidence baits, and a bait that gets bit a lot down there in Florida. I'm actually throwing this one on this is a G Lumens NRX. It's actually the Carolina rig rod. It's the 873. It's a 7'3" medium heavy. This rod has got a lot of use. As you guys can see, it's pretty beat up, but man, I'm going to continue to use it until it works no longer. But throwing it on a Curado K, it's a 200 XG. It's a fast gear ratio. Especially fishing this Carolina rig, I'm dragging along those shell bars. If a fish does bite, I want to set my hook and I want to get that fish to the boat and catch up with that fish as fast as I can. So it's very crucial to have that very fast gear ratio reel. So those are kind of my setups that I use down in Florida this year. Of course, I got a whole rod locker full of baits in here. A top water prop bait, of course, works really good. A drop shot can work down there. A fluke style bait. There's a bunch of different baits you can use down there, but that's just kind of what my confidence is. So if you guys have any questions, throw it down in the comments and let me know, and we'll be sure to get back to you guys. We're going to get the boat cleaned up, we're going to get all the Florida stuff out, and we're headed down to Table Rock for the next tournament.
I swear to God that it might just be the death of me. Just count the reasons why I'm